CNN, former Nicaraguan presidential candidate Cristiana Chamorro Barrios was sentenced to 8 years in prison for financial crimes on Monday, according to a Nicaraguan human rights non-governmental organization. This is the latest crackdown by President Daniel Ortega's government on opposition members. Ortega claimed a fifth term as president last November. In June 2021, his government began using a vague national security law as justification to lock up opposition presidential candidates, opposition leaders, journalists, human rights activists and others ahead of the November election. CNN tries to go inside Nicaragua as global leaders slam the sham election 627. At least 40 opposition figures have been found guilty of conspiring to undermine national integrity and financial crimes, according to CNN Español. Chamorro, a journalist and former director of the Violeta Barrios de Chamorro Foundation for Reconciliation and Democracy, was sentenced to 8 years in prison for the crimes of money laundering and improper retention and will remain under house arrest, according to the Nicaraguan Center for Human Rights. CENIDH, Pedro Vázquez, the journalist's driver, was sentenced to 7 years in prison for money laundering, according to CENIDH. Nicaragua finds former foreign minister and journalist guilty of conspiracy. Violeta Barrios de Chamorro Foundation administrator Walter Gomez and accountant Marcos Fleets were each sentenced to 13 years in prison for the same crimes, in addition to abusive management and ideological falsehood, according to CENIDH. The government also sentenced Chamorro's brother and former Liberal deputy Pedro Joaquin Chamorro to 9 years in prison for the crimes of mismanagement and misappropriation, according to CENIDH. The former presidential candidate, her driver Vázquez, Gomez and Fleets were also handed 2 fines, one of $1.6 million United States dollars and another of 56 million Cordobas. 1.56 million United States dollars, CNN Español reported, according to CENIDH. All 5 were found guilty on March 12, 2022 in a closed trial, according to CNN Español. They pleaded not guilty and said they will appeal to the judiciary. According to CNN Español, Roberto Lario, the official spokesperson for Nicaragua's judicial power, told CNN he had no comment on the court cases and the public ministry does not publish any updates on the proceedings. CNN's Matt Rivers and Natalie Gallon contributed to this report.